let's look at my guys this morning. And we know that exactly a year ago, we were on the beat, making sure we brought you comprehensive coverage of the 2016 presidential and parliamentary elections. Ultimately, there was a big turmoil in the central region. The NDC reduced its number of seats there to only 3, I believe, unless perhaps I'm wrong. And then lost a number of seats as well. And ultimately also they lost the presidency. And Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became the president of the Republic of Ghana. A new party was ushered into office by the 7th of January 2017. Well, that's 11 months on. Perhaps we need to do some recap. But we have in the studio Abraham Amaliba, who has fond memories of elections, haven't contested the primaries of his party in itself, but as a lawyer, he still has to make sure that he keeps his trade going, but also do a lot more party work. Has been working tremendously over the last 11 months for the party, and he's a regular contributor on the show. Abraham Amaliba, good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you too. And Eko Hayford, he is a member of parliament for Infantiman, fresh MP, fresh face for Infantiman, but he says that he hopes he can go 3-4 terms in that constituency and beyond. So he's here too. Okay, that seat was an NDC seat, was it?
Yes.
Okay, so how many seats were there for the NDC that you had to take over, if you can do the statistics for me?
It was 7.
7.
Then we took all the 7, then we added additional. So now currently we have 19 seats.
You have 19?
Out of the 21 seats in Central Region.
Out of 21 seats?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. So they have only how many seats?
They have only 3 more seats.
3 more seats. Wow, I see.
And the agenda for 2020 is Operation 21 seats in Central Region.
I see. So you don't want any seat to have any seats?
Not
have you gauged public opinion and think you are you are so popular there in some of the traditional seats that the NDC would have been winning that they lost, and think that they would not want to?
We are with the people. We are in touch with the people. We are for the people. We are by the people. And the good work that we are going to do from 2018 and beyond would prove to the people of Central Region that we should be given the mandate to extend our governance. I am hopeful that the good work of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana and his able ministers and the crop of members of Parliament that we have, we should be able to convince Central Region that, look, you give us the power. We promise, and we are delivering our promise. And I think once we are delivering our promise, we are establishing contact with them. There is constant relation with them. I think that is all what the electorate needs. It is not about promising, and you cannot deliver. It is about time. I know Ghanaians, and for that matter, gone are the days when people think you can take the electorate for granted. This time, you cannot take the electorate for granted. So I am hopeful that come 2020, the New Patriotic Party.
And the public opinion is that the president is that popular, the party is doing that well in government?
I think some of the answers I don't need to give it. When you go, like you rightly said, when you go on the grounds, the public opinion that throws out the information suggests that the New Patriotic Party has lived up to its expectation in terms of the promises and the good work it's promised the good people of Ghana.
I see.
Let me take this opportunity also to greet your cherished viewers as well, and also to thank the good people of Ghana for how far the good Lord has brought us. In all things, we have to give thanks to God. Today, we are doing a Thanksgiving service to thank God for the victory, bringing Ghana this far. The battle or the victory is for the good people of this country. And without God, we couldn't have come this far. So we are most grateful to the good people of this country and to God Almighty that we had a very free and fair election. We had a peaceful election. So a year today, Ghana was in total mess. Ghana was under the most corrupt government. But now Ghanaians can boast that there has been transformation. So we are grateful to the Almighty God, having brought it this far.
Who told Ghana was in a total mess? We had a number of edifices and facilities constructed. Otherwise, people didn't have good roads in their communities. They didn't have good healthcare facilities, and infrastructure that had littered, but it's okay. How are you, sir? And 1 year on, what would you say?
Well, if you are voted into power and you are detached from the people, you speak the way he's speaking. If you begin to divert Premix fuel, which is meant for the fisher folks there.
But we'll talk about it very soon.
Fisher folks there, that's their livelihood. And you are diverting them in drums, in barrels.
And he comes from the coast
and you
too.
come from that place. And you know the politics there is about Premix. Premix can bring you down or Premix can bring you up. Then you wear your white and come on national television, you are rubbing it into their face when they are angry with your massive corruption. You will go back. They will tell you what it is. Don't forget that we had majority in the central region. The same central region said that we should take a back seat. It can happen to you. The good thing about Ghana politics is that it is competitive. We are in a competitive democracy. So you can't have one government saying that I will rule for long. No, the people will look at their circumstances and deal with you appropriately. Look, I was made to understand that Nana Akufo-Addo, whilst he was even in his mother's womb, was prepared for the presidency. And I'm shocked that you have given the president the reins of power and look at the kind of leadership he's showing.
What has he shown? He has implemented free SHS, albeit only for first years.
You have a president who funded, financed, sponsored a vigilante group.
But
that is terrorizing people.
But that's not fair.
That is terrorizing people.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Which vigilante group? No, when you were talking, in fact, you said that the NDC under Mahama was the most corrupt government from your words, your mouth. People shouldn't think that there's special blood running through you. When you said that, my adrenaline was getting up. But I had to restrain myself because we are on a platform that I also have my turn. So please, learn from what I'm doing. You have a president who, when he's in opposition, said that he didn't trust the military, he didn't trust the armed forces, he didn't trust the police.
When did he say that?
Oh.
The president never categorically said anything.
They said that the reason why they put together their vigilante group was that they had lost trust in the police service.
It's not the president.
Must everything come from the president before you can attribute it to him?
I think
was Mahama doing the corruption? Was it Mahama who was taking the money? What did he just say here? And why didn't you have the courtesy, as you had now, to put him right?
Oh, now you're saying I'm biased.
No, I'm just saying what I think I should say. Now, if we have a president who has done that, unleash vigilante groups to attack our judiciary, unleash vigilante groups to attack our police service. You saw the policeman beaten up in pulp at the Flagstaff. You saw it. You saw pictures. Innocent Ghanaians being attacked by vigilante groups. You say you have come to government and you are dispensing good governance. You are celebrating good governance. You are wearing white to celebrate good governance. That policeman who was beaten up today, 7th January, will be mourning because he will be regretting that such a government came into place and vigilante groups had to beat him. The judge who was attacked in his court in Kumasi will be mourning today. So I think that rather than mourning, they should take a stock, rather than celebrating, they should take stock of the kind of leadership that they have given the people of this country, the kind of massive corruption that we are seeing. These people rode on the back of corruption. Now we are being told by the senior minister that it was perception when they were in opposition, but it's now that they are doing investigations. And when they said that the NDC was corrupt, it was perception.
But that's the right way to go. You have to investigate him.
So when they said that the NDC was corrupt and sold the idea to the people of Ghana, and the people of Ghana bought into it, what were they doing to the people of Ghana?
Well, they were not lied on you to also diffuse.
So when they were lying to the people of Ghana, they didn't have evidence. It's now that they are looking for evidence. So it is sad that a group of people come together, constitute themselves into liars, continue to lie to the people of this country, and even when they are in power, they continue to lie. Free SHS. you talked about.
Yes.
Is that the
it's
kind
a program?
Is that the kind
have you spoken to parents, Mr. Amaliba?
Look, there was a day I finished a program such as this, and I stepped out. A parent told me that the child went to school, and they only gave him one uniform, so he had to buy the extra uniform. When free agents came, they said that all you need to do is to bath and go. Parents are paying for certain facilities. I've just given you an example. Look at children. Our children have been shipped from our homes into places that look like refugee camps. Is that the kind of free agency you want? You heard the minister, that reckless statement.
What did he say?
Sometimes you are behaving, okay, I know what you are doing. You didn't hear the Minister of Education tell our children to poo-poo in polythene bags?
Oh.
And is such a person qualified to be a minister?
No, he was making references to whether it is the reasons for which, or the free SHS was the reason for which some of the schools and students were having those situations or those challenges in those schools.
And how did he conclude? That after
all, he said that the free SHS and its implementation had nothing to do with those problems, and that they were existing.
And his conclusion was that
they would be addressed.
And the conclusion was that after all, the polythene bag is there, and they can do it in there. That cannot come from a minister. It doesn't speak well of him. And I think that the fact that the media is in some section of the media is in cahoots with the MPP government,
I think you've given
does not mean that they should speak the way they want and insult the sensibilities of the people of Ghana.
Yes.
I think that
you want to moderate the program.
The insults are now becoming too much. Ghanaians did not do anything wrong by voting for them.
No.
Ghanaians did not do anything wrong by voting for them, so they should abate the insults on us.
That's okay. That's okay, but let's move on. You wanted to react.
Yes.
No reaction is okay.
No, I think...
he started
when I think we need to clarify something.
Kumasi Academy.
I have a special respect
we'll
for
bring
you.
We'll bring your story when members of parliament... For
you to say the president is funding...
When members of parliament...
It's on record he's the most corrupt person. But I don't think he should be saying
let's watch members of parliament react to how the health minister
hasn't Mahama prosecuted his own minister.
Let's watch members of parliament react to how the health minister and the health ministry is dealing with the disease in Kumaka. Let's watch the story.
There's no leadership. He could have on his own held press conferences every 5 to 6 hours to brief Ghanaians what actions are being taken to contain the situation. We are not seeing this. What do you want parents to do? To sit back home? No, they can't. They have to rush there to see what is happening to their wards. And this is dangerous for everybody. It is dangerous for everybody. It is not the headmaster who has to tell parents, don't come and take your kids. No. Why? It is not him. It is those who know or who should know that should tell parents what to do in situations like this.
So the authorities have failed?
They have failed miserably. It is a miserable failure on the part of healthcare leadership, led by the Honorable Minister. He has failed completely. And there's nothing that can exonerate him from this massive failure.
What would you have him do?
Why are the results not yet in? There must be an emergency response to public health disasters of this nature. And so if you do not trigger those responses, your results will be delayed. What can be done now is to make sure that we have a clinic on site.
Me as the MP, the school authority, all of us who are so close are getting direct information. You panic. The simple reason why you panic is that you know that if they don't know the course and you ask the student to go, there could be these consequences. If you keep them in school and the causal agent that is causing this is within the school, more students will be affected. So it's like you are torn. Which are you doing? But I think that with the broad spectrum antibiotics, which slows down whatever disease that it may be, it is better the children come to take the antibiotics and probably go home. So that we'll all be monitoring, maybe within the next few days, if they're able to know exactly what the problem is, then we know, oh, you're staying home is not useful, so come back. Oh, you're staying home, or even the rest that are on campus should all move out for us to take ABCD action. So that's why it is difficult and you are seeing this contradiction, because depending on what you say it is, it may not be necessary for them to evacuate the school. It may also be necessary for them to evacuate the school. So that's why the dicey. But I think that the Minister of Education, Minister of Health should quickly put their heads together so that they'll be able to take a tentative decision. Because when you allow the Minister of Education, they don't have health background. All they think is that, can we evacuate the school so that it will be easy?
And that is Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak, Member of Parliament for Asawase, and we know Asakore Mampong, where the school is located. He's the Member of Parliament for the constituency that is around that area. But let's go to Benes Abubeidu. It's a morning show. As always, we have to bring you the latest of what is happening around and topical of the subject that have been discussed on the various platforms. Are concerns being raised by customers of ECG over their inability to be able to buy prepaid units or credit for their electricity consumption. We have to go live to Benes Abubeidu, who is at one of the areas where we have vendors, to make sure that we get the latest on that subject. Good morning to you, Benes.
Hi, Roland. It's a lot of chaos here just behind the VIP station, the project office of the electricity company of Ghana. I must say that over 1,000 people are gathered here just so they can get some credit on their ECG card. It's been 7 days of trying to solve the problem here, and I've got the Revenue Protection General Manager here with me. Briefly to find out from him, yesterday we were here and there was a lot of chaos. The police had to be brought in. Tell us the current situation now. Yesterday you took some cards from people, assuring them that when they come in today, they were going to get their cards. What's the situation? So many people here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, yesterday we picked some cars for some of our customers. We stayed in, we worked on the cars. The cars we picked yesterday, we worked on them. They are about, yesterday we worked about 25,000 up to this morning. The cars are ready to be distributed. The only challenge we are having now, the situation we are having now here is that the people are not, organized. We've told them that when we pick your card, just relax, we call you. Yesterday we made calls to this 25,000. We called those who picked, and some even came for their car around 11 o'clock yesterday, 11 p.m. They came for their cards and bought. This morning they've come. The cars are ready, but now the challenge we are having is that you can see the chaos here. So how to distribute the cards is also becoming another issue. So what we are doing now is that I am passing them according to the districts that you belong to. Then we bring a PA system. So you go back to your district, we send the cars there, then they do the distribution so that we can ease the congestion here. Then the new ones who are coming, we pick their cars. Once these people are saved, the new ones come, we pick their cars. We ask them to go home. We work on it by 2 o'clock. They also come and pick their cars. Then the process continues.
But Mr. Samoa, just driving into this place, there's such a long queue all the way from the entrance when you're using the Ghana Water Company Limited route coming through to VIP. A lot of people have gathered here. Why has it taken you this long to communicate to them to go back to their district offices?
Beautiful. It's not that we haven't done that. I was here at 6 a.m. I told you I left here yesterday, this morning, 1 a.m. and 6 o'clock I was here. The idea was that because we have already given those who pick their cars information where to pick it, we thought that they will not come here, they will be at their stations and we send it there. But they were also eager because they are in darkness. So they are eager, they want to get their cars. That is all of them have come here. And now what we are doing is that we have arranged for PA system to announce again here so that the people will know where to go. At the moment, it's like they don't know where to go. So we tell them where they should go, then we pick their cars. The new ones will take their cars and work on it.
I just overheard you speaking to some of these aggrieved customers, and they claim that they've been to these district offices, but they are being redirected here.
Yeah, it is because, as I've told you earlier on, the cars are yet to be sent there because of what the situation we are in now. Originally, originally everybody was supposed to pick his car here. Then we saw that would not work. So we are now sorting the cars according to the districts so that we send it to the district. So it is true that that is the reason why maybe they are here.
So what about those who didn't bring their cars in yesterday? Because I know that there are people who are coming here for the very first time. Are they also going to get the opportunity to be served, or they would also have to wait another day before they can come for their cars?
We'll pick their cars. We'll pick those people with their cars. We'll work on it by 2 o'clock. They will also have their cars ready.
So is this in any way suggesting that you can only do that here at the project's office, taking the cards and working on them, so that, I mean, I cannot walk to my district office or my third-party vendor and be able to deal with the situation there?
Great. What is happening is that the situation we have at hand is purely engineering. If you go to the districts, we have just 1 or 2 district engineers there. But this place, all engineers in ECG, you can get them here. So we think that we have set up the whole building. We have set up a lot of workstations. So the engineers here are working here. If we take the engineers to go to the district, we'll have problem because the server is here and it's faster. In the district, when you go there, you'll be able to do it, but to go slower. But here, we have the server very close to us, so it moves faster, and we have all the engineers here, so all the engineers are available to assist. That is why we have made here a converging point.
All right, but we must clarify that for those who use the prepaid service, it's only those who use the card system who are facing this challenge, but those who use the network system, where they have to go to the vendor and key in their details so that the amount of credit they need is sent to their meters, for those people, they are safe.
Yeah, because what is happening is those people are using what we call smart meters. But these ones are not very smart because they have been in the system for a while. It's now that the smart has been introduced. So those who are using smart meters, there's no problem. Those who are not using smart meters, that's why we are having this problem. And no, the card you have, the card you had is not smart. It's a purchase card. It's not a smart. Yeah, I've seen it. But that is not a smart card. We are talking about smart. When we talk about smart, we are talking about a meter that can communicate to the server here when you buy. We can credit you in your home without you coming here. That is what we call smart. It's a two-way communication. Okay. But these ones are not two-way communication. Okay. That is why you need to come with the card, you program it here. Then you go back and use that one too. So this one, people see it as smart. It's a purchase card. It's not smart.
So, Roland, just a bit of clarity here. This is what is creating all the problem because, like I mentioned, there are various ways that you can get your prepaid meter served. One of the ways is that you go to a vendor, key in your details, and like he's explaining, that's a smart meter. So the communication is sent directly to your meter. Whereas with this card, you need to come, slot it in the machine, get the credit loaded, go and put it back in your meter so that you can get electricity. And this is what is creating the problem. Let me just ask him our final question so that we can speak to some of the aggrieved customers. So when exactly do we expect this problem to be solved?
In fact, had it not been the confusion here, I'm sure by close of day, we should have done close to 80-90% of the situation. But when there's this kind of crisis, you know, like I've stopped the work, I'm here talking, it derails the work. But I'm sure nobody won't take anybody to next week. No.
Okay, but do you have a fair estimation on the number of people and the regions that are affected by this network challenge?
Not exactly the number. I can do an estimate. Okay. This particular meter, we have about, we have close to 200,000 plus customers.
In Accra alone?
In Accra. Not even in Accra, in just Accra West. Accra East, you know, use this meter, so they have no problem. Only Accra West. So what we have done so far, out of the 200,000, we have about close to 120,000 who do not have any problem with their cars because they bought the power earlier, so they don't have this challenge we are having. So we have, let's say, close to about 80,000, and so far we've done close to 40-something thousand now. So the number we are left with, I'm sure with all things being equal, within 2 days we should be able to clear it.
Thank you very much. That's Mr. David Asamoah. He's the General Manager of Revenue Protection here at the ECG Projects Office. Now let me just show you what is happening here, if you come with me quickly. So the queue goes as far as to the gate, moving out. So many people here, Roland. If you can just see, we are just going outside the gate quickly. You'll just see that there are so many people here. We understand from authorities here that they are bringing in some reinforcement from the Ghana Police Service, Roland. If I step out right now, you'll be amazed the number of people involved. Let me just get a few customers who are aggrieved and speak to them, find out from them how long they've been here and how long they've had to live without power supply. Hello, ma'am. What's your name?
Charity Boashe.
At what time did you get here this morning?
Around 6 a.m.
Okay. And how long have you had to stay without power?
For 3 days now.
Is it the first time you're coming here?
This is my first time of coming here.
Okay. And before you got here, were you trying other means of to get power?
Well, we were told to come here, so we can't do illegal. You know, it's illegal. It's forbidden in this country, so we can't do so. We were told to come here, so we are just here waiting for what they will tell us.
All right, thank you very much. Let me speak to another. All right, sir, what's your name, please?
I'm called Lawrence.
Okay, Lawrence, how long have you been here? What time did you get here?
For a long time, about 3 hours now I'm here. Okay. I don't know what is happening. But what is happening that the story is that there is a software problem at the various places. And why can't they solve this problem for us? Once and for all. They get the money to help the nation. But what they get money, what do they use it for? They need to use the money to establish this, to make the system very, very stronger. Whereas we are able to get this problem. Actually, so I think, thank you for what.
So he had to run off because the queue is moving. A really chaotic situation here. I'm just stepping outside the main premises of the ECG Projects Office here in Accra, just behind the VIP station. And if you can just follow me, you would see what's happening here. Long queues. But when you get in, the queues are dissolved, really. It's who has the fastest legs, who can run and get to an official who can help them out. So we are moving out now. We've already moved out, we've stepped out, and I cannot overemphasize that this is a situation I have never seen before with regards to electricity supply in this country and a system or a software that has broken down. So right now I'm outside and we'll just speak to a few more people and find out how long they've been here and what authorities have been telling them. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
What's your name, please?
My name is Alfred.
All right, Alfred, how long have you been here? What time did you get here?
I got here by 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah.
And you are just at the end. You are not even in front.
No.
How long have you been without power?
Okay. It's 3 days now.
3 days. How is that affecting you? Are you using the power for business or you're using it at home?
I'm using the power to do everything in the house. So I have a big shop to do business. And now my house too, there's no light. So how can I give him? So I must get a light today too before do my business.
So roughly how much have you lost as a result of your inability to access power?
No, I haven't checked it. I can't tell now. So unless the power comes to my hand before, I can check my everything.
Right, thank you very much. That's one aggrieved customer that will just speak to some more people who are gathered here at the ECG Projects Office. The queue is moving, so that should be some good news for those who've been standing outside for a very long time. Briefly, we'll just get some people's reactions, and more importantly, to find out for those who have lost some money or revenue, those who depend on electricity to run their businesses or to do some sort of work in their homes. Hello, sir. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Michael.
Michael, how long have you been without power?
Let's say about 30 minutes ago.
I mean, okay, so your prepaid went off 30 minutes ago. All right, and how long have you been here?
Roughly, let me say 20 minutes.
Have you received any information from the authorities?
No, please.
So you've just been standing here hoping to get inside?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you very much. I'm just hoping to find someone who's sort of lost some revenue or something of the sort due to their inability to access power. Good news is that now the queue is reducing. A lot of people are moving in into the projects office of the ECG. Hello, sir. What's your name?
I'm Theophilus.
Theophilus.
Yeah.
How long have you been without power?
Oh, like 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since you got here, have you heard any information from the authorities?
Oh, no improvement. You always hear about going to like the substations and all that stuff, but no improvement. I mean, I just think they're just giving us excuses and stuff instead of telling us the truth. Oh, yeah. Someone is not being truthful or something. That's how I feel.
All right, okay, so that's an aggrieved customer telling us what he thinks about the whole situation. So as you can see, the queue ends at the back there. Really chaotic situation here at the project office of the ECG. Roland, we'll get back to you shortly. Authorities are hoping to deal with the situation. They've called for some security reinforcement apart from the regular security people they have here. They've called on the Ghana Police Service to come and help them deal with the situation, Roland.
Abu Baidu, and giving us a vivid description of the problems and the difficulties and the challenges that consumers would have to go through or have been going through the last 3 or 4 days to get access to electricity credits or power, just to make sure that they live comfortably if they could in their homes. It's a great difficulty. But let's comment on this briefly before we get to the subject of the disease control situation at the Kumasi Academy. Let me start with you.
Before I make my submission, I think it is important I should put it on record about the allegation Honorable Amaliba made concerning the president funding vigilantism. I think it is quite inappropriate for him to use that word on the President of the Republic of Ghana, because for you to say somebody is funding something, then of course you have evidence to substantiate what you are saying. I think he's a lawyer by profession. For him to use that word, I think it is inappropriate, and I least expected it from him. The president has demonstrated to the good people of this country his commitment in fighting crime. Crime is crime, irrespective of whatever crime it has been committed. He has demonstrated. Arrests has been made. The people involved were put before a court of competent jurisdiction. They were tried, convicted, the fine imposed on them. So I'm surprised he's saying that. Coming on the issue of the Ghana Army, the military service, I think when we are doing politics, we should not bring in the security agents. It is quite... You're
talking about his concerns about
the fact that
the brutality that was meted out to a police person.
No, that is not what I'm talking about. The fact that he was saying that because the MPP government did not have trust in the military, we restored to our own security. I would say that it is on record that this government has demonstrated its commitment to the armed forces. It is on record that when they were in government, the peacekeeping allowance of the military personnel was $31. But when we came, we have increased it to $35. And we are paying it upfront when they are on mission. When they were in government, the soldiers will have to come back to Ghana before they are paid. So I think we should, when we are communicating, we have to put it on records. Everybody knows that their government was tagged as the most corrupt, the most incompetent. That is why Ghanaians voted out of the bag. Coming back to the issue of ECG, I think it is quite unfortunate that this thing should happen. If you look at the queue there, I think the authorities should be up and doing, because one, if you look at the fact that people are not getting power for 2 or 3 days in Accra, then it raises source of concern. One, the corporation itself is losing revenue. Two, the security of this country is also threatened, because when people are not getting light in their areas, it gives room for people to do all sorts of things they ought to do. But going forward, you see that the main cause of it has to do with a system failure. And I think that the authorities are taking the necessary steps to get this thing down. My humble appeal is that they should be communicating to their clients, because when clients are not getting information, they tend to put up any suspicion or any thought, and that is mamping up the pressure there. I think, like the technical officer just said, that I am hopeful that with the competent engineers ECG have, by the close of today, the queue that we are seeing there would not be there. And moving forward, I think you know, when you are using prepaid meters, it's a source of concern, because when it goes off, apart from the fact that you have access to a generator, you will not have access to any power. So in their quest to move on the prepaid system, they should also take in contingency plan to forestall some of these things, because our corporations should always be up on their heels. We should not be hearing stories of operational deficiency. I think Ghanaians will not take this excuse in future. So I think the affected customers in Kaneshie, the main areas, I think it is not the general country that is affected by this problem. Those affected areas, I would just plead with them to exercise some calm whilst the issue is resolved by the ECG.
Well, I was in Tema, I experienced it too, so it's not as if it's only that Accra got the attention of the media and all that. And those who had the smart cards, that's the cards that had the chip in it, so they have had their problems rectified generally when they go there. Mr. Amaliba, some initial commentary on the subject of ECG, then we go to issue about the disease control in Kumasi Academy.
On the issue of corruption first, never in the history of the Fourth Republic have we had a government that has just spent 6 months in government and we are hearing acts of corruption in that government. 6 months.
Which act?
We are talking about bust scandal. We are talking about 2.25 billion, is it million rather, a billion bond issue. We are talking about the allegation of A+ that 2 persons in the flag server were
they've been exonerated.
Acts of corruption. What did the Shiraj report say? The Shiraj report said that it was waiting for the CID report, which never came, so they had to conclude. So if Shiraj said that it was waiting for that report to assist it to come to a conclusion, don't you see that there's a void and that conclusion cannot be acceptable? So if you have a government that said that it was out to fight corruption, and in 6 months within their reign you start hearing corruption, massive corruption coming from that government, there is a case for one to be worried about. But if the senior minister says that it was perception that they had that NDC was corrupt, who are you then to sit here and say that NDC is corrupt? Your own senior minister said it was perception. Now, on this issue, look, customers have been taken through hell. And I think that at this juncture, the PURC should be thinking of how to compensate these customers. Indeed, the PURC should order the ECG to give the customers additional credit for their suffering. It is not their doing. These are people who pay their taxes, and so your server is broken, it's not broken, it's unnecessary to them. They also have the money to buy the lights. Your server is broken. That does not mean anything to them. People have gone for 3 nights without power, and yet it's not as if we are in doomsday or we are in load shedding. So I think that these customers must be compensated one way or the other for no wrong of theirs. Now, I think the ECG should begin, if they, we have been told that there are 2 systems. If they think that the card system is becoming, what should I say?
It's fraught with problems.
They should send all those customers onto the new smart system. You know, and the smart system should be such that wherever you are, you can buy credit. And I think that's why it is. It shouldn't be limited to districts and that kind of thing. So if those areas were affected by the network, probably they could have gone to Tema, and it will be the same thing. So they should network their system in such a way that, just like the banks, wherever you go, you are able to transfer your money. So ECG should begin to look at those things and ensure that they are able to provide the much needed services that the customers need. And so I think mainly they should be compensated for the sufferings that they have gone through. Yeah.
Well, it depends on what sort of compensation. Is it additional credits?
Additional credit, yeah. Additional credit. Oh, it has happened before. You are laughing. You don't know.
Well, I know it's happened before.
Yes.
There's a lot of cost to ECG.
There's a lot of cost to ECG. I think easy. Sometimes.
We shouldn't take the people for granted. You see?
Well, that's your point.
I am here talking for the masses. Who is ECG to make me feel uncomfortable when I pay my taxes?
Can you sue them?
You can. You can.
Under which of the actions or the laws? Is it class action?
Tort. Because if I can show that because of your action, the food in my fridge got rotten. It's just here that we don't do those things. In the advanced country, they do those things.
I think I should take you as one of my lawyers too.
They do those things.
I want to suffer one of these and try it and see.
In fact,
give it some
under class action.
Do some media activation.
Class action and sue them. For you are suffering because of their negligence on their part. Let them come and defend themselves. And so when I say that, it is not that I am saying that ECG should be made to pay. But what I'm saying is that if we take those actions against state institutions, why are we saying that state institutions don't work well? Because we do this complaint, we leave them. And if we begin to hold state institutions accountable by suing them and having the PURC also imposing fines on them. Indeed, the PURC has, in their regulations, if the energy providers are unable to meet a certain standard, fines are imposed on them. So let's take this matter seriously.
I think that's how it's got. But you wanted to say something?
What I was saying is that, you see, sometimes we should not be hypocrites when it comes to
the Nyame is too much in this country.
Such matters. I think this is not the first time during their regime that a state.
Oh, this is not politics, though.
No.
Can you imagine?
You see. No.
It's a service provider.
Let me land.
Can you imagine?
Let me land. When you were talking, I allow you to speak.
But this is so repugnant.
You see, I feel much as there is an issue or there's a problem, we as stakeholders, like you rightly said, should push the authorities to live up to expectation.
But that's what I'm saying.
I am coming, but then you see, when you go to suggest that people should be taking them to court.
But you don't think for consumer protection and consumer rights that's important?
I am coming.
You are a consumer. I'm a consumer.
I myself.
You are a consumer.
If I happen to be in their shoes, I would have be more angry than what they are doing. But what at the end of the day, what it is happening is it is not the best interest of customer delivery in terms of customer relations. So I feel that it is up to ECG authorities to ensure that such things don't occur again. Because if we keep on pushing that our state authorities should be dragged to court, at the end of the day,
Why not? You are a member of parliament.
I am a member of parliament.
You are in parliament because of your constituents.
I am.
And rather, you should also be advocating
what I'm saying is, when it gets out of hand, that's where
we have to take that.
That is it. I mean, the issue has just started, so we need to.
But of course, you're watching the AM show, and we're coming to you live from Ghana Post GPS digital address GA093341. Live here at Kokomemle here in Accra. But we move on to the subject of Kumakan. We earlier heard from members of parliament who had been raising concerns about how the health ministry was dealing with the disease outbreak, for which we still don't know which of them it is. It's being speculated at the Kumasi Academy. And Mr. Amaliba, let me start with you on this subject. So
this one is squarely at the doorsteps of the government. This one, I'm going to tell him that I'm going to attack his government so he can come. The other one was to say that, look, state institutions must work well, and you must begin to hold them accountable by even send them to court, sue them. This is non-political. But this one, you can see clearly failure on the part of government. That's the Ministry of Education and the Health Ministry. This issue just did not start 2 days ago now, that we are now hearing of it. I'm told it started in May. There were such April. There were such mysterious deaths.
May.
Exactly. Now, I'm told that samples were taken to Noguchi. What has become of it? What did you communicate to the students? You went silent. You thought that water will find its level. It will die a natural death. It has come to hit you hard. And so, if I hear, and that's what the MP said, my friend the MP said that, look, you don't blame parents for going to evacuate their wards. I'm on this program. My child is in school. If I'm told that something is happening there, I'll leave this program and go and pick the child. So don't blame parents for, being panicking and then rushing to see how they can be able to at least resolve the situation, even though they are not health professionals. So I think that the two ministries should agree, eat the apple pie, and agree that they did not handle the matter well. It is now that I have heard that the director in Kumasi Health Services went to the school to assure them that with the vaccines that they are now taking, they are sure that the situation will be abated. But this has come a little late. And I think that the two authorities, Minister of Finance, Minister of Education, and the Minister of Health, should bow their heads in shame for allowing this to happen since April. And for me, I think that what should be done now is for them to begin to collaborate. I'll not call for anybody's resignation. They should begin to collaborate and begin to speak. Because they are speaking from discordant voices. You hear the Minister of Education say they will close down the school. The Minister of Health was in Parliament yesterday also saying something else. So rather than being in their own comfort zone, I think they should begin to collaborate to see how they can deal with this matter. But if not, the least I can say is that they are to be blamed for what has happened.
The reliction of duty, or just not being cautious?
The reliction of duty,
not being cautious in communicating.
When the matter came up, they took samples. What has happened to it? That's the reliction of duty. The next aspect is what has happened to the coordination that we expect state institutions to have. What has happened to that? And nothing is showing that they are doing that.
Mr. Iford.
Thank you very much. I disagree with him on certain issues. Like we rightly said, when the issue started, they took the samples all right. But you know, I'm not a lawyer, but you know, when it comes to analyzing the cause of certain diseases, it is always advisable and prudent to ensure that the analysis and the result that you are throwing. It's
not lawyers who analyze samples. It's doctors.
Doctors are the rare cause of the disease. So I think we agree that it has delayed. But then once it is still under examination.
But Mr. Iford, let's look at this scenario. In April, we had incidents for which we're told that there was a death or a fatality. Yeah. And you come from a region where there are a lot of schools. People travel in and out. Now, if you have such a school like this and you have a number of parents who have their children there, what do you think should have been the best of communication is of reassurance so that there's no panic when there's a certain resurgence or recurrence?
I think you and I are far from the school, but so far as I'm aware, the school authorities communicated to the PTA about the necessary steps that they have taken, gave them the assurance that the situation is under control and that the necessary measures has been taken to forestall its emergence. I am aware that the Ghana Health Services and the Ministry of Education are collaborating to take the necessary steps, taking vaccine screening all the students affected, because it is something which is very dicey and very dangerous. So it is advisable that the steps that they are taking to screen all the students affected. So I think that, you know, matters of health, when we are dealing with it, we have to tread cautious. But I think the collaboration is there. The health service, we are not too happy about the slow pace of the investigation as to what is causing it, because when it happens like that, parents are jittery, wanting to go to the school, wanting to find out what the government is doing, and I think that the necessary communication has been put up to the parents. The necessary assurance has been put. And as we speak, I know the men are on the ground working assiduously to ensure that all the students in the school, especially the screening, the first thing is doing the screening to ensure that all the students have been given the necessary vaccine. I think it's quite unfortunate that this thing should re-emerge again, but I know in a matter of time, the exact cause of the disease will come out from the investigation.
Mr. Amaliba, we're talking about a population, and secondary schools are scattered across the country. Should parents be worried, knowing that our response to some of these issues, especially in the recent past, have not been the best? When a period where congestion would always be with a population such as people in a boarding house or crowded situations always been recorded?
Well, this should be looked at from case-to-case basis. I think this disease, I'm sure, is limited to the school. I'm not even sure it has gone out into the community yet. So first and foremost, the authorities should see how they can cordon off the disease from even going into the community. I think it's in Asawasi constituency, Mutakas constituency.
So what do they do? They keep their students in the school and say?
No, I think that if there are any preventive vaccines, they should begin to send them out.
That is what they are doing now.
To the community, exactly.
Okay.
For the communities not to be affected. But again, you've raised a good point, because also we are approaching the hot season up north. From Hamatan, you begin to go into it. So from January, February, and there's this meningitis up north. With the congestions in our schools now because of the free SHS, there's a need to also vaccinate
free
them.
SHS has brought congestion.
Yes, oh, sure, you've seen it. But why? If it's a fact that once you say something is free, a lot of people will go in there. And so they must also be proactive. I don't want a situation where this will happen again and then we will now begin to
always be congestions in schools.
Oh. And it is now more
acute. Okay. I get you.
Bright. I say Bright.
Roland. Bright is at the other side.
I know. Roland.
Yes, sir.
Don't be provoking me. You know this matters. That it's not like football stadium. When it's going to 5 minutes to the end of the time, they open free gate, and you see how people rush in there. It's like that. So, but I'm just saying that authorities should begin to know that in some areas of the country, there will be some disease strains which come with the weather, and so they should begin to put in place mechanisms to forestall those things. So in the upper east, upper west, northern region, and some parts of Brong Ahafo region, they should begin to send vaccines there to ensure that we vaccinate the children before the time comes.
I think I share his concern. I think it's a step in the right direction. And I think I know that the sectors ministers concerned have taken clue from this occurrence and taking into fact that we have expanded the intake in the schools and the fact that he was talking about. It is not all the schools that are overcrowded as a result of the introduction of the senior high school policy. In cases where there have been increase or intake, the necessary measures has been done. And I'm aware that we are also putting up a lot of expansion facilities to cater for the intake. It is good that when it comes to matters of this, and I'm happy for this one, he did not read any political line into it. Sometimes we need to also communicate how some of these things could be addressed. And I think that the authorities concerned in their bid to manage this implementation should also take into account the fact that, you see, when students are populated in area, there's a tendency that when there is outbreak of any diseases, there's a tendency that it will spread fast. So I think it's a challenge to all the heads of our institution to ensure that as we go into the dry season, especially the people in the north, they take necessary steps to avoid any outbreak of diseases in our schools. And I think that collectively, some of these things could be achieved.
Okay, let's look at this quickly before we go. We're talking about Premix fuel. We'll talk about 5 minutes and then we'll go. I know you want to dodge it, but because you come from a coastal, your constituency is bordered by a coastal shore. So sorry, don't worry. The minority in Parliament is demanding immediate arrest of London Beach Committee members said to have signed for delivery of Premix fuel but cannot be traced. The legislators believe the committee members have a role to play in the diversion of the Premix fuel, which has cost the nation over 22 million cedis. Oh, okay. At least 200 cases of Premix fuel diversion have been cited. Now tell me, what's the situation? How is it like?
So far as I'm concerned, it's not 200 as reported by the minority. You know, the minority, when it is one, they will make it 1,000. I am concerned as a member of parliament coming from the coastal belts. I know one of the reasons why the NDC lost the election is on the issue of Premix, the frequent allocation of Premix to our landed beach in the coastal belts, and that is what we took into account when we came into power. The gratifying thing is that we saw it as a problem in the coastal belt, so we took the necessary steps. Now
it looks like you took a wrong action.
No, I am.
Because the way it's been managed has not been good.
No, I am coming. You see, in every situation, there are bound to be some bad note in it. And for me, the important thing is the affected OMC have been banned from doing that business. What the minority is calling for the arrest, I don't think it is a step in the right direction.
What do you make of this?
I'm coming.
You're supposed to get allocations.
I am
there are
coming.
people
Let
who have
finish.
signed for them. They claim they haven't gotten the allocations. So where are we going with the subject?
I am not holding forth for those who sign when they have not received it. The fact, at the end of the day, this matter is going to be investigated, because it is not the fact that
if you are not holding brief for them, then why are you criticizing the minority for saying that we should hold them responsible?
You see, what I'm saying is, in matters of allegation, you need to investigate. The fact that one person has signed, they are going to sit down, take case by case, look at it, investigate it. Then if those people are found to have committed a crime, then they are put before the law court.
All right. Okay. Again, we'll be taking you live to the Accra International Conference Center. The new patriotic party, as well as government, is holding a Thanksgiving service today. I'm sure that Honorable Hayford will be going there from here. But Ms. Amaliba, Premix and the resultant concerns being raised by the minority.
You see, we are not talking about just one truck. 240 trucks diverted, according to CTFM exposure. 240 trucks. This is massive. This is colossal. And I think that a government that said it was coming to fight corruption should not be entertaining these things. See, those trucks are fitted with trackers, and wherever they go, you can see them. And if today we are being told that the fuel has not gotten to where it's supposed to go to, the easiest task is to go and look at the trackers. Why are we not doing that? Is somebody somewhere interested in the matter? I am told that the fisheries minister, because this government is made of friends, family, girlfriends, and wives, former wives of the presidents, and nominees and appointees, the minister too decided to put his brother in charge of this Premix.
It is never true. The records are there. You can go and look who is the chairman of the Premix committee. It is never true. Because during your regime, it was friends and girlfriends. You think it is our regime's friends. No.
Oh, why?
Get your facts right and go and check. Go and check.
Mama V. Oswabwaje is ready. Eko Hayford is a member of parliament for Infantiman. And Abraham Amaliba is a legal practitioner, but also a member of the NDC's legal team.